Good afternoon, Packers fans. Aaron Negler here with your Packers Daily Chat, coming to you live on the Cheesehead TV social channels. It is Friday. We made it, folks. We are under a week until the NFL draft. That's right. Next Thursday, we'll be plopping down in front of our devices and waiting a long time to see who the Packers pick. But you know what makes that wait so much more enjoyable? Hanging out with lots of other Packers fans. And if you're in Green Bay, head downtown to hang out with Corey Banke and a bunch of other Packers fans at our first ever draft party. Let's get ready.
It's Jordan Love! Jordan Love!
Killing me. What's going on here? Pick is in. Roll the graphic. The pick is
You guys weren't ready for that, were you? I'm just going to keep playing that on loop. No, I kid. But best possible way to get ready for that party, and so you can sound like you know these prospects. You've been digging in. You've been taking deep dives into each and every one of them. That's right. You want to get yourself the Cheesehead TV Draft Guide, which is available. There's a link in the description of this video. It takes you right to the page where you can purchase and download it. And I want to stress this download part because I've gotten a couple messages in the last week or so from people asking when the draft guide is going to arrive in the mail. Folks, I don't know how much clearer we need to make it, but it is a digital product. It is downloadable at the point of sale. So if you're waiting for a draft guide to arrive via the U.S. Postal Service, I got some bad news for you. You might be waiting a while, but you can download it and print it. Print however many pages of it you want. I know Corey likes to print it out every year. He's Mr. Dead Tree that way, but this year probably have one on hand at his computer, and you should as well as the draft unfolds. And hell, there's a lot of other great Packers content in there, so make sure you check it out. Sorry I missed you guys yesterday. Couldn't be avoided. Appreciated everybody checking out the couple of videos that I put up, namely my talk with Joel about Jordan Love's upcoming contract extension, and of course, the addition of Andre Dillard, the, let's put it bluntly, reclamation project the Packers will have on hand at tackle. Now, he's played mostly left tackle. He's played pretty much up and down the line, outside of center, I would say. But most of his snaps have been at left tackle. Don't know what the Packers' plans are as far as maybe possibly having him become a swing tackle, but he has been predominantly on the left side. And you call a spade, at least last year in Tennessee, it was not pretty. He did not have a good year. And this is an example of the Packers getting a guy that they really liked in the draft process. They had him in for a visit. They obviously have been following his kind of NFL career, which has been a disappointment up to this point. I think there's no denying that. But as far as what it means for the draft, it absolutely keeps Brian flexible, not having to reach, not having to, pick for need, so to speak, just from a numbers game, probably more like later in the draft. Not talking about this doesn't drive anything as far as the top of the draft goes, but it certainly allows him to let the draft come to him a little bit more. And it's something we talked about. I believe it was 2 weeks ago. I had a video saying one more move before the draft, and lo and behold, here you go, one more move for that exact reason, to keep things flexible, so to speak, when he's on the clock. Hello to everybody in the comment section. So good to see you. Hope you're all doing well. And we got lots of people hanging out. We got Soder starting us off with a super chat. What's up, man? I said in a meeting today, I'm not that complicated. I just want to ensconce myself in all things Packer and not get yelled at by downstairs. Go Pack, go. That sounds like a good life. That sounds like a good way to go through it. No question about it. And we're happy here at Cheesehead TV that you utilized us in any way, shape, or form when it comes to ensconcing yourself in all things Packer. Michael, what's going on? Thanks for the super chat. Why don't the Packers own Lambeau Field? Is it because of the unique ownership structure? Does it benefit the franchise more to lease it from the city? It's a good question. Corey Banke is the one you really want to talk to on this subject. More than anything, though, it's when it was built, the partnership with the city is the whole reason it got built in the first place. So, I mean, there's probably been some discussion about an attempt on the team side to do so, but I don't think the city would ever give up the payments they get. It's, as the mayor told us on our live stream, that's money in their budget that goes to really important things and really important work around the city. So I don't think there's anything in the charter or anything that says they can't own it, but I just think that's how it began and it's how it's been. William, what's going on, man? Thanks for the super chat. Which type of players, position, and skill set do you think Hafley's defense requires to run successfully? Type of players. Good ones? I mean, good players always help you become successful. It's funny because I read Tom's piece, Spoon's piece at the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel about, the edge players and how they have, traditionally, mostly like larger, longer limbed, big guys that they don't feel or seem like they're going to be turning away from that anytime soon. Brian talked about that at the combine, but as far as skill sets go, I mean, in this day and age, and the game of modern NFL football, I think Brian's talked about this a few times. Like, you are always going to be looking for guys who can do as much as possible in so many different schemes and situations, so that you're able to be malleable, and not just because you never know if there's going to be a coach that gets fired and you have to run a new scheme, but you want guys that are able to kind of work in every environment and work in every kind of possible way that you need them to, as far as scheming guys up, wanting to make sure that you can keep the offense or defense second guessing, always keep them off balance. You don't want to become predictable. You don't want to give yourself tells. So if you see a guy out there in a sub package and they always love run, they love a cover 3 razor when they do this, etc. Well, you want to guard against that. So you want to have guys that are mostly interchangeable. Now, it's not always going to be that way. That's not always going to be the case, but that's what you're hoping, right? I know Jeff talked a little bit about what he's looking for at the safety spot, the post safety at the opening presser that he had. But you want big, strong, fast guys. I don't think there's anything that they're looking for schematically, specifically in this draft. I think the agility testing, all the athletic testing, that's a threshold that has been tried and true in Green Bay for a very long time, but that's been through any number of different schematic changes, right? I don't think it's specific to Hafley and what he runs. Luke, what's going on, man? Aaron, happy cheese pizza Friday. What's your favorite Packers memory as a child? Ooh, as a child. That's a deep one, Luke. And thanks. Yeah, actually, for the first time in a long time, we're not doing pizza tonight. We're going to Jackson Hole I'm going to have burgers. I don't know what Olive will probably have chicken wings or something. But favorite Packers memory as a child? That's a really good question. I say this all the time, and you guys probably get sick of it, but yeah, I distinctly remember my grandpa taking me to Lambeau when I was 3. As my earliest memory in my life. I just remember the smells. I remember what it felt like. I remember where we were sitting. My grandpa had his, seats, and I remember the angle that we were looking at. I remember it was a really pretty blue sky day, and it's the first time I ever got to see the Packers in person. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to top, hard to beat that. Nick, what's up, man? Dillard's a great example of why folks, me included, got to chill on draft crutches. Was the 29 prospect for a tackle, and now is a depth signing 6 years later. Yeah, I mean, you never really know what's going to happen at the NFL level, how they're going to take to whatever situation they're in, what coaching they're getting. And look, you got to think the Packers, like the title of the video suggests, think they can maybe not fix him, but put him in a better situation. Hopefully they can, make him look a bit better than he did certainly last year. I think there's flashes when he was in Philly, but I do think, it's, you're kidding yourself if you think he's going to come in and, win a job outright. He's got a lot of work to do. I think he is a athletic freak and a guy who has still a lot of upside, but there's work to be done. And hey, look, if there's a staff that has shown they're going to give him opportunities and they're going to work with him, they're going to grind it out with him, Green Bay has done a pretty damn good job finding guys in the draft, both early and late, and bringing them along. It's a bit of an O-line powerhouse at times. So who knows? We'll see what happens when the Packers get their hands on. Patrick, thanks for the super chat. Random Packer, John Yurkovic, give me all the ditch diggers. Man, Yurko is awesome. I think I've talked about it before, but the toughest look ever was that game, the playoff game in Dallas when he got hurt and he was like going off, like limping off, being helped off, and he's yelling at the Dallas sideline because he thought it was a dirty play. And man, that was a low point. I remember being so depressed watching that. Shane, thanks for the super chat. Appreciate you, man. Nick, thanks for the super chat. Random Packer, Chris Banjo, who I believe is he still in the league? I think he's still in Arizona. I can't remember. Either that or he just retired. I can't remember which, but I remember seeing his name recently. Craig, what's going on, man? In your opinion, is our O-line coaching staff the best in the league? Hard to argue against it. Seems that if we didn't have a premier staff, we'd be less likely to sign project players. Thoughts? It's hard to say as far as rating them against other teams. I mean, I do my shtick every year when they lose a few games and guys play poorly, everyone goes after the coaching staff, right? Every year I'm saying, like, we're not privy to what they're coaching, what they're doing, what they're teaching these guys. Like, we barely know what the head coach does, let alone the position coaches. So yeah, I can't speak to how everybody else is coaching around the league, let alone, 31 other teams. I mean, the Packers are tough enough to get a handle on. So, I mean, I don't know if they do it better or worse than anybody else, but I do know they've been pretty damn effective. There's proofs in the pudding. Now, some guys just never kind of spring, right? They never work out. The Jason Spriggs of the world, or the Don Barclays of the world, or hell, right now, the Royce Newmans of the world. Sometimes you're as patient as you can be, and you try and do as much work as you can, but some guys just don't develop the way you want them to. But I think more often than not, Green Bay has done a pretty damn good job in that regard. Lambeau Leo, what's going on, man? I'm going to be happy with whoever we pick because you just never know how these guys are going to pan out. Who remembers Rodgers/Love picks? Hysteria, LOL. Yeah, that's kind of funny. We just had that little draft promo at the start, remembering how excited some people were about the Love pick and how upset other people were about the Love pick. It's nice not to be involved in that kind of drama. And I'll tell you what, not having the Aaron Rodgers trade hanging over this offseason has been absolutely phenomenal. Like, not having to worry about leverage gate and all that nonsense. And then, the pick will probably be, hopefully, the final kind of closure on that, because obviously they own a selection in the second round that they got for Aaron Rodgers. So that will be a storyline. That'll be a narrative, unless Brian trades it like Ted did. So we'll see. See, Biscuits and Gravy, what's going on? Thanks for being a Carry the G Club member. Whoever is the Pack's first round pick needs to chug a Carry the G when they approach the podium. Random Packer, Jonathan Franklin. Hated his injury. Oh, that's a tough one, man. I met and worked with Jonathan when I was at Bleacher Report. We did a video together, and he was super, super nice. And yes, that injury really sucked. And yes, I fully endorse any Packer selected in next weekend's draft chugging a Carry the G wherever they are. We might have to airlift some to them across the country. Ben, thanks for the super chat. Thanks for being a Carry the G Club member. Appreciate you, man. Hey, Nags, I got nothing apart from, can this draft hurry up and get here already? Shogun is still awesome. Go, Pack, go. Oh, man, Shogun absolutely pissed me off this week in the best way possible, like, just because of the storytelling was so good. That show's amazing. I can't believe it ends next week. Unbelievable. But yes, the draft needs to hurry up and get here. No doubt about it. I'm glad you brought Shogun up, and I've had a couple other people ask me about the show, what I think about it, and I get the occasional Star Wars questions, and maybe I'll put a poll up. Maybe not today, but maybe at some point, or you guys can just tell me in the chat. Should I do like a separate like pop culture thing here on Cheesehead TV? Like, because I know when I start talking about like movies or music or whatever, there's some people that go, oh, there's a Packers thing, blah, blah, blah. But if I had a dedicated chat about those things, maybe we could do like a separate weekly thing. I don't know. This is something I was thinking about the other day, because I do get one or two questions about it pretty much every day. Brendan, what's going on, man? Thanks for the super chat. 1 week until the draft. Happy weekend. Happy weekend. That's what I'm talking about. Ryan, thank you for the super chat, man. I still think they should pick an O lineman in the first round. Happy Pizza Friday. Random Packer, Don Davey. Ooh, I like Don Davey. Oh, yeah, Ryan, don't worry. Like, the Dillard signing does nothing to their first round plans. Absolutely nothing. There is zero doubt that if there is a offensive tackle that they value, that they have rated highly, they're going to take him. And he's available at 25, they'll pull the trigger. So That the Dillard signing doesn't change much in that regard. Joe, thanks for the super chat. Would Goot, if GM in 2017, have drafted TJ Watt? Oh, that's a good question. Probably. I hate to say it, but probably. Yeah, that's a huge what if, isn't it? Man, that still bums me out. Kevin King giving up a damn touchdown in the NFC Championship game. It was kind of like the nail on the head of his career in Green Bay. Unbelievable. Kyle, thanks for the super chat, man. Will you be at the Cheesehead TV draft party? Go Pack Go. Kyle, I will not be. Corey Banky will be. I will be in our studio here in New York, manning the ship, so to speak, for our live stream. So I will be chatting with Packers fans worldwide, one or two special guests who may be stopping by, and yeah, all of you fine folks. Patreon members will be on the Zoom like they are every year. So if you are a Patreon member or a Carry the G Club member, make sure you're on the lookout for that information next week. I'll have it up probably Thursday morning, the link and everything you need to get in the draft Zoom hangout. And then you will be live streamed to the internet. So it's not like the happy hour where no one knows what the hell we're doing or talking about. So put on your best shirt. I'm looking at you, Soder. But yeah, it's always a lot of fun. It's always a good time. And this draft party is just kind of a new element, something we've always wanted to do. And finally just kind of pulled the trigger. I was really a force of will from Banky because he was like, I'm doing it. He just decided he's just doing it. So it's great, but I'm really happy about it. We'll see. Maybe down the line, like maybe next year or something, I might come out for it if it kind of builds upon itself. But right now, we're just going to see how it goes, kind of thing, before we fly Nagler out. Craig, thanks for the super chat, man. What type of growth are you looking for with Jordan Love during training camp this year? That's a good question. Obviously the thing you'd like to see is him picking up where he left off towards the end of the season. A lot of the kind of improved accuracy, a lot of the letting it rip, so to speak, at the top of the drop, really being in rhythm with his receivers. I'd like to see a continuation there. I've talked a little bit about, some of the concerns where I think teams with a whole offseason of tape getting to look at things, there's that deep out cut that he likes to throw that I think is, he doesn't have the same zip that Favre and Aaron did. And that's not a knock. That's just the two of the greatest arms we're probably ever going to see walk this earth throwing the ball. He's got a great arm, but he doesn't have quite the same velocity. And I just wonder if teams will start sitting on that and trying to undercut it and pick it off. That's something I'm interested to see. And now, look, he's been working all offseason. You can build arm strength. Maybe he comes back and looks a little stronger in that regard, and my hopes are ill-founded. But yeah, just the continuation of where he clearly started to get it last year. That's what you'd like to see right out of the gate. Obviously, it's always going to be a little choppy at first when you get back into the groove and get the pads on, and those first couple of days are always a little rough. But yeah, I would suspect we'll see a lot. Maybe not a lot, but fewer kind of misdirection moments, like plays where he and the intended receiver aren't on the same page, things of that nature. I think we'll see a lot less of that. Jeezy Baby, thanks for the super chat, man. Bigger impact, Ryan Pickett hitting Big Ben's arm or Raji pick six, random Packer, Corin Robinson. Corin Robinson is a good one. Ooh, I got to give it to Big Grease here. I mean, that hitting of Big Ben's arm and getting that ball up in the air for Collins to pick and go up 2 scores in the Super Bowl is pretty hard to top. I mean, Raji's pick for a touchdown in the NFC Championship game is an amazing moment, all-timer, no question about it. But, man, that play and by the way, it wasn't Ryan Pickett. Pickett had a great game, but it was Howard Green who hit Big Ben's arm. Just remembering now. Howard Green, friend of Packer transplants. True story. The Packers signed Howard Green on I think a Tuesday or something, and we had him on the show the next day after just begging him on social media to come on. He had no idea who we were or what we did, but he was really lovely. He was really nice. And then he went and helped him win a Super Bowl. Nick, what's going on, man? Thanks for the super chat. Cheesehead TV Weirdos and Nerds channel. Let's fucking go. Weirdos and Nerds. That's good. 50-year-old weirdo. Ryan, thanks for the super chat. Didn't TT get booed for drafting AJ Hawk? I remember he got booed. But I don't remember if it was for drafting AJ Hawk, but they did used to have a draft party in Lambeau, and there was a year where he got booed, and that was pretty much the end of the draft party. And look, AJ Hawk was a fine pick. Like, was he the superstar everyone hoped he'd be? No, but he was a really good player, helped him win a ring. It's a fine pick. Ed, thanks to the super chat. Do players who are not chosen by the Packers receive counseling from the NFL on how to deal with the letdown they have to deal with? It's a good question, Ed. I'll have to get that into the league office and see what they say. TBD. Ben, thanks for the super chat. Yes, absolutely. I do a geek quiz every week. LOL. There you go. So yeah, some momentum for the geek talk. I like it. And look, there's nothing geeky about Shogun. That's not a geek show. That's an awesome show. Let's get that cleared up. Lewis, thanks for the super chat. Random Packer, Danny Vitale. Sigh, what could have been. Man, I'm still waiting for Matt LaFleur to call that wheel route. I mean, I think they called like something like it once in the game against the Raiders, that game where Rodgers had the perfect passer rating and 5 touchdowns or whatever. But man, they never really let him get going in that regard. And he was great in camp. He had such good hands. It was like shocking for this big fullback, and they just never utilized it. Cheeto, thanks for the super chat. Man, it takes all kinds. Is Corey's house really neat or messy? Can't tell. It is very neat. I don't think Rachel could live with him if it was messy. There is mess like during the day when he's gardening, and there's like seeds everywhere and lots of plants and blah, blah, blah. But the house is very neat. It is very lovely. Peter, thanks for the super chat. Favorite Tortured Poets Department song? See, this is where we need the Geek Channel, because, like, yo, that album is just like music for shopping malls. She needs to be self-editing. 30 plus song. Come on now. And so much of it is the same. I know she loves that producer that she's working with, but man, she needs to shake it up or shake it off. But seriously, folks, I mean, if you're looking for a cure for insomnia, check out that album. Abdul, what's going on, man? Thanks for the super chat. Hey, Aaron, why are the Packers so antagonistic to Cheesehead TV? Are they worried they'd offend newspapers and official media? Happy pizza night with the kids. That's a really good question, and thank you for the sentiment there at the end. It's weird because, all right, to break it down, the Packers as an entity really aren't antagonistic towards us. There are certainly folks within the organization in certain departments who aren't big fans, but there are just as many in other departments in kind of all levels of the organization who really like what we do. I had a great email from one of them yesterday. But yeah, I think there's a faction, a very small faction of folks, mostly in sales, who view us as competition for their digital team. And that's why they are sometimes very frustrating to deal with. But that's neither here nor there. Like I said, we know who is in our corner, and that's good. Abdul, thanks again, man. Not so random, almost Packer, Marshawn Lynch. Oh, yeah, that would have been dope. How great would it have been if Marshawn Lynch had played with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay? We came so close. But you know what? They won a Super Bowl that year that they didn't end up trading for him. So I'll take that as a consolation prize. But yes, it would have been awesome. Carl, thanks for the super chat. Random Packer, Jim Carter. Jim Carter gets a shout out. Wow, I think that's a new one. Paladin Jack, what's going on, man? Famous last words, but I feel like they've put themselves in a position where I'll be happy with any draft class they have. Random Packer, Vi Sikahema. Yes. I think Vi had been utilized like early on when people were doing Random Packers, but that's the first time in a long time I've heard that name. Well done. And any draft class? Yeah, probably. I think I'm just at that point. It was funny the other night on the happy hour when a lot of old dudes like myself sitting around going, yeah, I don't care. Because I did a kind of a, I asked everybody on the call, like, who would be their dream scenario, who would be their dream pick, and like a much more than I thought answered, much more people than I thought would answered, like, I don't care, whoever they pick, I'm 100% behind, blah blah blah. It's like we're all so old and jaded. We just make the picks. I mean, I still love the draft. I just know that there's so much that goes into it that we aren't privy to. I used to get very involved and very upset when they didn't take my guys. And now I just sit back, let it happen, and then get excited by the possibilities and potential on display from the latest group of Packers. That's how I do it. Your mileage may vary. All right, everybody. I got to get going. Can't thank you enough for hanging out, talking Packers each and every day, Monday through Friday, right here on the Cheesehead TV social channels. Don't forget, link in the description of this video. Get yourself a Cheesehead TV draft guide and get ready for next week's draft. Like hundreds of pages of content. It's amazing. Just incredible work from Al and the team. Make sure you get one, folks. And then please hit like, hit subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family. Cheesehead TV. We are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great weekend. Go Pack, go.